a little bit something. अब यो हामीले Nepalese American Psychiatric Association, as we all know, यो COVID पछि नै सुरु गरेको हो. COVID को बेलामा I got to meet all my wonderful colleagues here. And we did some good work together. And Law Association बनाम, अरूहरूलाई पनि तानम, राम्रो काम गर्नलाई, Nepali community मा भनेर we kind of started. And plus एउटा networking जस्तो platform पनि चाहिरहेको थियो, I think, for everyone. I mean, we started off on it, like we just want this to be a nice platform for everyone to come together. Hopefully more people join us. I know mental health workers and like non-psychiatric or they can add whatever way they can. Hopefully oil some of the US based matra group method that eventually want to gather more people or happen so that we can comprehensively work towards doing more work in the Nepalese diaspora. That's our hope. And roughly our goals like we really hope through this platform, not just to get to know each other, professionally, resources network in addition, or psychiatric professionals who already residency help hopefully we can do that. And apart from that, psychiatry residency run by Nepalese origin medical students or graduates or like help other than that, I think real big work is in advocacy, mental health. I mean, as much as we can, pre-COVID experience webinars, educational videos through we've been doing a lot and telai continue garu bhanne hamro hope cha. In addition to that, we also want to and hope to collaborate with some organizations in Nepal ma just a grassroots level ma kaam garira, and one of them is NIMH, and I think Dr. Sanjay would add more to that. Ani हामी उहाँहरुसँग काम गरेर whatever we can do and आफ्नो backing या professional backing बाट के help गर्न सकिन्छ त्यसमा चाहिँ we want to contribute as much as we can. So far, like I said, like I'm during COVID, हामीले गरेको main काम भनेको चाहिँ almost monthly just the crisis सुरु हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ monthly webinars-हरु टन्न गराएको थियो focusing on stress management, suicide prevention, even like domestic violence, कसरी handle गर्ने, and we had a wonderful impact, I think. It was really nice coming together like that. And apart from that, I made crisis hotline just to support helpline just to start gareka thiyo, and all the attendings and our colleagues they added themselves on a kind of a roster, and just whoever was available counseling garnalai we started on. I think that was a really impactful measure as such, also in collaboration with ANF, SAN, and all Nepalese organizations. NAPA established and NAPA established by we've been just continue same kind of work. Recently, I would say you're a residency applicant. We organize few online Zoom sessions, and this might say a little tips help on. Some of us, our colleagues, they were nice enough to give even like one-on-one mentorship and a lot of them have matched, and I think some of them are here. Congratulations, and we're very proud of you guys. Moving on, we are working along with NIMH, Nepal, some of our esteemed colleagues here working with some psychiatrists and other mental health workers in Nepal and carrying on the work of NIMH. And we hope to support them as much as we can. So, alikati हाम्रो टिमलाई alikati formally I would like to introduce. I'd go with start with Sanjay Dai, our vice president here, NAPA and NIMH president. So hello, I want Sanjay Dai.
So very hello. I got an introduction by so good to be here, and you're welcome.
And I'm the General Secretary Sharad Koirala. I'm not sure if he's joined. He is from Chicago. Jagan Subediji, I'm the treasurer.
Namaskar, sabaijanalai. सबैजनालाई स्वागत छ. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Jagdamba, our PR, Public Relations Officer. Jagdamba.
सबैजनालाई नमस्ते है. हामी सबैजना यति धेरै साइकियाट्रिस्ट छ कि डोन्ट फिल लाइक यो चाहिँ नि यहाँबाट निस्किँदा झन् कन्फ्युज भएर निस्केला है. जस्ट बी केयरफुल.
अनि Sandeep, our member relations official. I don't know where he is. Sandeep.
I think he's here, but yeah.
Appearance dinu paryo. I'll move on. Ani hamro board ma hunनुहुन्छ प्रवेश साई.
नमस्ते.
Dr. Sridhar Podel.
Hello, फेरि सबैलाई.
Dr. Dinesh Sangrola अनि हुनुहुन्छ कि हुनुहुन्न. Dr. Sanju Adhikari र Dr. Ram Mahat. I think they've not joined yet. So yeah, I think हाम्रो, I don't know, this is a huge community work जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई. हामीले just mental health workers, yeah, psychiatric colleaguesहरूले मात्र push गर्न सक्ने. This is not as simple as that. It takes a village भने जस्तै हैन. So we need everybody to join us, and I really hope all of you join us in some way or the other. More than welcome to, and you know, help us continue our efforts. I'll stop this and I'll hand over the mic to Dr. Yadav.
Thank you, Priya. एकदम राम्रो इन्ट्रोडक्सन नापाको अनि वेलकम. हामी यति धेरैजना आज जुटेर यो कुरा गर्न पाइरहेछ. यो कलेक्टिभ वर्कको सिलसिलामै सोच्ने हो नि NIMH पनि त्यस्तै हिसाबले नै सिड भयो. अनि इनफ्याक्ट अहिले प्रियाले भनेको प्रोग्राम चाहिँ पेन्डेमिकको सुरुवातकोमा हामीले जुन यो काउन्सिलिङ वर्क अनि एज अ हटलाइन रेस्पोन्स वर्क गऱ्यौँ त्यति बेला नै धेरै मान्छेहरू हामी एक आपसमा भेटायौँ. अनि त्यहीँबाट नै अलिअलि आइडियाहरू सबैजनाको आफ्नै सिङ्गल माइन्डमा भइरहेको चाहिँ एउटा कलेक्टिभ हिसाबले अनि यो NIMH जन्म भयो. फर्मल जन्म चाहिँ अब 2021 इनफ्याक्ट 1 वर्ष ठ्याक्कै जस्तो भएको छ अप्रिल 7 मा. अनि NIMH चाहिँ अब नेपाल बेस्ड कम्पनी हो. अनि लार्जली अब यो हामी सबैले बुझिरहन्छ अब मेन्टल हेल्थको ग्याप एकदम इमेन्स छ. अनि त्यो हिसाबले नै सबभन्दा ठुलो आइडिया चाहिँ अब त्यो ग्यापलाई फुलफिल गर्ने हिसाबले कसरी कम्प्रिहेन्सिभ इन्टिग्रेटेड प्रोग्राम बनाउने भनेर. अनि यो मेन्टल हेल्थ स्पेसलिस्टहरू मात्र नभएर पब्लिक हेल्थ स्पेसलिस्ट अनि यो अरू जीवनका पाटाहरूमा मान्छेहरू गुज्रिरहेको सबैलाई समाहित गर्ने गरेर चाहिँ अब हामीले यो खोलेका छौँ. अब यो लास्ट 1 वर्षमा यो आइडिया चाहिँ एटलिस्ट 6वटा पिलरलाई समातेर गर्ने हिसाबले भयो भने पनि अहिले चाहिँ अब 2-3वटालाई मात्र यो सुरुवाती यो टच हुने गरी चाहिँ अब सुरु गर्न पार्छौँ हैन. अब आइडिया चाहिँ एउटा इम्प्याक्ट ठुलो क्यापासिटी बिल्ड गरेर अनि स्पेसली यो प्राइमेरी केयरलाई स्ट्रेन्थन गर्ने गरी मेन्टल हेल्थको प्रोग्रामहरू इन्टिग्रेट गर्ने एउटा आइडिया हो. अनि अरू चाहिँ अब सर्भिस डेलिभरीमा ठुलो इम्प्याक्ट दिन खोज्ने भन्ने हो. त्यसअनुसार चाहिँ एउटा हामीले अब सेन्ट्रल टर्सियरी केयर लेभलको हस्पिटल पनि स्टार्ट गर्ने भन्ने प्लान हो. अनि क्लिनिक्सहरूको प्लान छ अनि तिनीहरूलाई अब नेटवर्क बनाउने भन्ने प्लान छ. अनि यो सबै नन प्रफिट बेसिसबाट नै हो. अनि क्लिनिक्सबाट प्लान चाहिँ भेरी क्लोज पुगिसकेको छ. अनि त्यसबाहेक चाहिँ अब मेन्टल हेल्थ चाहिँ त्यति बेला मात्र प्रोग्रेस हुनसक्छ जबसम्म हामीले अब एडभोकेसी अनि अवेरनेस प्रिभेन्टेटिभ वर्कहरू गर्छौँ भन्ने हिसाबले. अनि तिनीहरू सबैमा हामीले प्लानहरू बनाएको छौँ. अब यो लास्ट 1 वर्षमा गरेको एक्ज्याक्ट वर्कमा अब अभियसली देखिने वर्कहरूमा एउटा त टेलिमेन्टल हेल्थको कोभिड रेस्पोन्सको टाइममा हामीले हेल्थ फाउन्डेसन नेपालसँग कोलाबोरेट गरेर अनि अरू यो गभर्मेन्ट एजेन्सीहरूसँग कोलाबोरेट गरेर अनि गरेको प्रोग्राम थियो हैन. जसमा अब आजै यहाँ ग्रुपमा भएको पनि कयजनाले भलन्टियर गर्नुभएको थियो. तर अहिले अब एक्टिभली चलिरहेको चाहिँ एउटा मानव सेवा आश्रम भनेर तपाईँले सुन्नुहुन्छ होला, जुन अब होमलेस अनि स्पेसली स्ट्रिटमा भइरहेको मान्छेहरू सबभन्दा इम्प्याक्ट पार्ने गरी चाहिँ अहिले अब रिहेबिलिटेट गर्न गरेको प्रोग्रामहरूमा लिडिङ प्रोग्राम हो. अहिले थुप्रै प्रोग्रामहरू त्यस्तो आएको छन् हैन. अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीले मेन्टल हेल्थ केयर इन्टिग्रेसन गर्ने हिसाबले फर्स्ट साइट चाहिँ चितवनमा अहिले 5 महिनादेखि चाहिँ अब पाइलट प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट गरेर छु अनि जुन एक्सप्यान्ड गर्ने सोच हो अनि अर्को अब भेरी सुन इनफ्याक्ट विदिन अ विक चाहिँ अब अवेरनेस क्याम्पेन हामी लन्च गर्न खोजिरहेको छु जुन चाहिँ अब अलिक बढी एक्सपेन्सिभ धेरै नै स्पेसली अब सोसियल मिडिया लेभलबाट नै सुरुवात गरेर अनि पछि चाहिँ अब यो मोर पपुलेसन बेसमा पुग्न सक्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ हामीले प्लान गरिरहेको छौँ अब त्यो कयौँ वर्षको प्लान हो तर फर्स्ट इयरमा चाहिँ डिप्रेसन स्पेसिफिक क्याम्पेन गरिरहेको छौँ अब आइडियाजहरू बढी छ च्यालेन्जेस चाहिँ अब फिल गरिरहेको छ कि हामीले यहाँबाट गर्न खोज्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यति सजिलो त हुँदैन होइन अनि मोटिभेट गरिराख्नलाई अनि स्पेसली अब त्यहाँ भइरहेको अब नेपालमा नै मेजरली हाम्रो अब वर्कफोर्स छ नै होइन तर इभेन्चुली अब यो प्रोग्रामहरू त अब सबै नेपाल बेस्ड हुने नै हो तर हामीलाई हात चाहिएको छ अनि हात चाहिँ अब यहाँबाट अहिले नै अब तपाईँहरू सबैजना यहाँ इन्भल्भ हुनुहुन्छ अनि यहाँबाट अनि स्पेसली अब अनि नेपालमा भएको मान्छेहरू सबैले अब हात दिएर नि यस्तो प्रोग्राम यो सस्टेन गर्न सक्छौँ अनि त्यो नै आई थिङ्क मलाई फिल चाहिँ हुन्छ कि सबैजनाको मनमा छ यसलाई चाहिँ अब मटेरियलाइज गरौँ र यही हो यो सर्टमा भन्नुपर्दाखेरि हामी अब नापा र एनआइएमएस इनफ्याक्ट छुटिन नमिल्ने गरी इन्टिग्रेटेड छौँ नि होइन तर एनआइएमएस चाहिँ नेपाल बेस्ड प्रोग्राम हो अनि यो प्लेटफर्ममा यसरी अब यो को एक्जिस्ट गरेर बोल्न पाएकोमा मलाई खुसी लाग्छ थ्याङ्क यू प्रिया
थ्याङ्क यू सञ्जय दाई तपाईँहरूले एकदमै इन्सपायरिङ काम गरिरहनु भएको छ एन्ड हाम्रो आफ्नो नापा प्लेटफर्म एज मच एज वी क्यान हेल्प यु एन्ड यस वी आर अल पार्ट अफ द सेम टिम मुभिङ अन है अब आई थिङ्क वी सुड नट डिले दिस एनिमोर हाम्रो स्पिकर आइसक्नु भएको छ रोशनीजी डक्टर मिस पाण्डे सो एक्चुली यो idea like why to do finance seminar भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ I think it's a very burning issue जस्तो पनि लागेको थियो मलाई हाम्रो physician community मा I think धेरै जस्तो हामी आउँछौँ residency गर्छौँ fellowship गर्छौँ अनि job लिन्छौँ and we don't think we focus so much in getting into the system knowing the system के गर्ने कसो गर्ने भनेर finance aspect चाहिँ I think त्यो aspect ले हामी educated हुँदैनौँ या focus हुँदैन at least you know, I can speak for myself. I wasn't very well versed. So I think that's a burning issue for the physician or immigrants. So I thought it's a great opportunity to talk about this and learn from financial advisors. Thank you so much, Roshni, for giving us your time. And आजको यो प्लेटफर्ममा चाहिँ रोशनी जी र Dr. Basnet will be talking a little bit. मलाई अलिकति रोशनीको बारेमा I wanted to share. And she's from Kathmandu, Nepal, and she did her Bachelor's of Science degree in Information System from Young University. And त्यसपछि I think उहाँले MBA चाहिँ McDonough School of Business, Georgetown University बाट गर्नुभएको. She started her career at Goldman Sachs 19 years ago. And since then, she's been helping with endowments, foundations, and pensions of billions of dollars in asset firms like BlackRock and Cambridge Association. She's a very impressive entrepreneur herself. She's the founder and the current CEO of True Root Financial, based out in California. I think it's an independent investment advisory and financial planning firm, mostly helping business owners, physicians, tech professionals, and high-income families interested in investing and seeking financial growth. Welcome, Roshni.
Thank you.
And next we have Dr. Pravesh Basnet, a little bit about him. Obviously, he's our pristine NAPA board member, and I've had the privilege of knowing him since COVID helped us. He's been very active with us, and in NAPA as well. Dr. Basnet is also from Kathmandu, Nepal. He completed his MBBS from Manipal College of Medical Sciences. He completed his residency in general psychiatry and fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry, both from Southern Illinois University School of Medicine. He works as a consult psychiatrist in Charlotte, North Carolina. And as I say, the interactive sessions, I think he gave us a little preview of it earlier about his side gigs, private practice and also he wants to share a little bit about his collaborative healthcare company. Okay, let's start this.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Great to meet everyone. Let me start by sharing some slides. So thank you, Priya, for the introduction. Very kind of you. So as she mentioned, my Afro career, I started in Wall Street 19 years ago at Goldman Sachs, working with ultra high net worth individuals and families. So individuals and families that have more than about $40 million to invest. And then from there, I went to work for institutional investors like endowments, foundations, pension plans, etc. So more public money rather than private money. And as she mentioned, I also founded my own company. It's a financial advisory firm where I work with individuals and families on investing and financial planning. And most of my clients are entrepreneurs and physicians. So that's a little bit about me. About आजको सेसनमा चाहिँ हैन physician financial planning भनेर कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ first I will talk about physicians in general हैन what makes physicians unique in terms of financial planning. I'll talk about that. And the next phase मा चाहिँ I will talk about three types of physicians. About three types of physicians भन्नाले चाहिँ not specializations or anything but three situations भनौँ न that's pretty common with physicians. So first, my physician financial planning, three things I find unique when working with physician clients is about investing. And investing is important for everyone. There are physicians, I would say, because they spend most of their 20s studying, so they start saving, investing, they start earning a little later in life than most other people. So they need to invest a bit more, save a bit more than other people might at their stage in life. Second, physicians who study in the US, they usually have a big debt, and that's pretty common I see with most of my American clients. But with Nepal around by doctors, debt which is great. So your education debt so and then the last thing is insurance. So some insurance and usually life and disability that are physicians or slightly unique on so your insurance thing. So I'll talk about these three things quickly and then I'll jump to the different types of physicians. So पहिलो कुरा चाहिँ अब यो investing चाहिँ हैन these are the rates that you need to save and invest at different stages of your life if you start investing and saving at different stages of your life. 20s देखि start गरेछ भने अलिकति save गरे पनि पुग्छ हैन 20s देखि पछि 60 सम्म चाहिँ if you save only 10% or 13% of your income you're in pretty good shape किनभने एकदमै चाँडै start भयो नि हैन so the investment also compounds has a longer runway to compound हैन so त्यो कारणले चाहिँ it's okay to save a little bit and you'll be fine. 30s they can start but now you need to save a bit more. So this says 13 to 20%. I would say save 20, at least 20%. And 30s they can start so this is what applies to most physicians because they start earning and saving slightly later in life than most other professionals I see. 40s they can go now you need to save even more than before. So त्यो एउटा कुरा भयो. अर्को इन्स्योरेन्सको कुरा चाहिँ अब यो life and disability that applies to most people. Life insurance, if you have dependents, you need life insurance. If you don't have dependents, and if you are single, you're not financially responsible for anybody, then you don't actually need life insurance. The cost type of life insurance भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब life insurance, term insurance ले धेरै जनालाई पुग्छ हैन. So unless you have a very big estate and meaning एकदमै धेरै assets हरु छ हैन, then you might want to get life insurance even if you don't have dependents. हैन त्यो चाहिँ अब that becomes more an estate planning kind of a thing. There are more general मान्छेहरुलाई चाहिँ basic life insurance or a term life insurance भए चाहिँ पुग्छ हैन. So त्यो चाहिँ त्यस्तो complicated कुरा हैन. So that's basically the rule of thumb is if you have dependents get a term life insurance हैन. त्यो एउटा कुरा भयो. Next is disability insurance. But disability भनेको चाहिँ if you cannot work for any reason हैन disability insurance चाहिँ it replaces a part of your salary. And usually about 60% of your salary चाहिँ the disability insurance replace गर्छ. अब डक्टर्सहरुको लागि चाहिँ this is a kind of अलिकति specific disability insurance चाहिन्छ हैन, because अब disability चाहिँ different ways मा define गर्न मिल्छ हैन. अब एउटा सर्जन छ हैन, उसको हातमा चोटपटक लाग्यो रे हैन, सर्जरी गर्न पाएन रे. अब इन जनरल मान्छे चाहिँ हैन हात काम गरेन भने it doesn't mean they're actually disabled. They can still do other kinds of work and still make money. तर अब सर्जन को त्यस्तो हाई salary नहुन सक्छ. And if that person, let's say that person gets a desk job or like an office work हैन, सर्जन को त्यस्तो हाई salary नहुन सक्छ हैन. So त्यो कारणले चाहिँ own occupation insurance लिनुपर्छ most doctors अहिले चाहिँ. अनि the more specialized their profession is, more specialized their practice, त्यतिकै specific insurance चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ हैन. Disability भयो अर्को malpractice. So this is pretty common knowledge for most doctors, malpractice चाहिन्छ भनेर. So त्यो चाहिँ अब insurance को कुरा भयो. So those are the things that are slightly like different about doctors. And अब अरु चाहिँ अब general financial planning हरु त सबैलाई apply भइहाल्छ. So त्यो एउटा कुरा भयो. अब now I'll talk about different doctors in different situations. अब उनीहरुको चाहिँ के financial planning opportunities छ भनेर हैन. अब the first is physicians on salary. And now using doctors who are employed by a hospital or like a private practice, and unaharule चाहिँ paycheck पाउनु हुन्छ हैन, or a W2 statement र अनि W2 statement आउँछ हैन tax time मा र त्यो pay stub paycheck पाउनु हुन्छ हैन. त्यस्तो physiciansहरुको financial planning चाहिँ is basically the most important thing is to max out retirement plans हैन. अब if your work provides 401k, you can do that, max that out हैन. Roth 401k छ भने चाहिँ this Roth option चाहिँ becomes very valuable when you're making less money हैन. अनि धेरै पैसा कमाउन थालेपछि चाहिँ 401k is better for you हैन. अनि 401k max out गरेपछि अब if you're eligible for IRA or Roth IRA त्यो पनि गरे हुन्छ हैन. The other is if you have children, 529 college savings plan, those are good as well. And then last thing is healthcare savings account. So tax wise, healthcare savings accounts are very tax advantaged. This might say 3 levels of tax advantages. But the important thing to consider is your HSA plans are they're only available with high deductible plans. So healthcare plans, health insurance plans that come with a high deductible. So अब आफ्नो health अलिकति अलि उ छ हैन, अलिकति कमजोर छ or like doctor का गइहाल्नु पर्ने त्यस्तो छ भने चाहिँ maybe this might not be the best option. तर अलिकति young हुनुहुन्छ, healthy हुनुहुन्छ भने चाहिँ this could work as well हैन, because यो HSA ले चाहिँ HSA account मा पैसा राखेर चाहिँ invest गर्यो भने चाहिँ त्यो this can really grow a lot हैन. अनि त्यो पनि tax free, it can grow, so it's very tax advantageous. So this is for physicians on salary, right? That's the first situation. Second situation is physicians on 1099, so contractor physicians. But you say physicians who work for a hospital or maybe even for a private practice, that when I say contractor group ma kaam garनुहुन्छ. So basically, let's say the W2 ko sarta चाहिँ 1099 पाउनुहुन्छ tax time ma, अनि 1099 बाट tax गर्नुहुन्छ हैन. So about त्यस्तो physicians are they're actually self-employed physicians, and tax code jargon matches they're self-employed physicians. So they're almost like a consultant or just and a business owner, consultant, coach is the type of and a tax wise. But your business owner only your whole your planning world kind of expands a lot, and especially tax planning expands a lot. There are possibilities are surface, which many possibilities are. And the first thing is about LLC खोल्नु राम्रो हैन, business owner भएपछि liability को हिसाबले, business liability को हिसाबले अब LLC खोल्या भन्दैमा कति professional liability कम नहुन पनि सक्छ. अब त्यो depends on the state, depends on the laws, etc. हैन. So LLC is the first thing to do. अब business अब LLC खोल्ने बित्तिकै once you're a business, अब business जस्तै गरेर आफ्नो त्यो इन्कमहरु म्यानेज गर्नुपर्छ हैन. So that means bookkeeping. So separating personal from business, you need a different bank account or a business bank account बनाउनु पर्छ. अनि आफ्नो expenses are separate गर्नु पर्छ. So bookkeeping गर्नु पर्छ. bookkeeping softwareहरू गरे पनि हुन्छ, QuickBooks यताउति गरे पनि हुन्छ, आफै गरे पनि हुन्छ, तर त्यो bookkeeping चाहिँ गर्नुपर्छ हैन, and that also helps you a lot at tax time as well. So त्यो भयो. अनि अब once your income goes up, अब यो self employed भएर income मा जाँदै गएपछि चाहिँ यो S corp election is something that might be advisable हैन. अब यो S corp election भने चाहिँ कस्तो भने so LLC भएपछि single member LLC भएपछि चाहिँ सबै income comes to you हैन. So you're the employer, you're the employee, you're self-employed person हैन. So self-employed person is चाहिँ दुईटा टाइपको ट्याक्स तिर्छ हैन. एउटा चाहिँ there is income tax which सबैजनाले तिर्छौँ, federal and state etc सबैजनाले तिर्छौँ. अर्को चाहिँ payroll tax हैन. त्यो payroll tax चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भने employer ले employee ले half and half तिर्छ हैन. तर when you're self-employed, you're both the employer and the employee, so you pay both basically हैन. So त्यो tax कम गर्नको लागि चाहिँ one of the ways in which you can reduce that tax is to do an S corp, right? So अब यो S corp गरेपछि चाहिँ अलिकति म्यानेज पनि गर्नुपर्छ हैन, अलिकति कामहरु अलिकति बढ्छ हैन. र यो ट्याक्स गर्ने कसरी गर्ने त्यो पनि अलिकति रिस्पोन्सिबिलिटी अलिकति हाई हुन्छ हैन. सो त्यो कारणले चाहिँ the advantages and the cost अलिकति weigh in गर्नुपर्छ हैन. अब एकदमै अलि थोरै इन्कम छ भने it might not make sense to do an S corp because the tax saving might not be compelling enough हैन. तर एकदम धेरै ट्याक्स सेभिङ हुन्छ भने र अलिकति कस्ट हुन्छ भने त्यो S corp इस्टाब्लिश गर्नको लागि it's worth it हैन. सो त्यो एनालाइज गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. सो S corp गरेपछि चाहिँ के हो भने S corp गरेको मतलब चाहिँ ओके LLC त हो म, तर ट्याक्सको लागि चाहिँ I'm an S corp हैन. I'm a simple corporation basically. S corp र C corp पनि दुईटा हुन्छ. So S corp is small corporation हैन. अब यो चाहिँ I think it's about 100 shareholders भन्दा कम हुनुपर्छ हैन S corp मा चाहिँ. र C corp चाहिँ अब those are like the big companies, so they're generally C corp. अब त्यसको आफ्नै advantages and disadvantages also. So you S corp गरेपछि you have to do a payroll for yourself हैन. अब now you're saying I'm a corporation, so corporation भएपछि चाहिँ corporation ले चाहिँ payroll गर्नुपर्छ. So अघि नै मैले भने नि जब हजुर यो physicians on salary ले W2 पाउँछ हैन, पे स्टब पाउँछ, एउटा पे चेक पाउँछ भनेर भन्यो नि, त्यस्तै गरेर चाहिँ now you are the employer, so आफूलाई पे स्टब इस्यु गर्नुपर्छ हैन, पेरोल गर्नुपर्छ. सो अब यो चाहिँ यसको लागि पनि सफ्टवेयरहरु छ हैन, लाइक one common is Gusto भन्ने सफ्टवेयर छ, धेरै सफ्टवेयरहरु छ, तर त्यो चाहिँ गर्नुपर्छ हैन. सो त्यो एउटा भयो. अनि अब यो गरेपछि चाहिँ अब एउटा चाहिँ एडभान्टेज इज अलिकति सेल्फ इम्प्लोयमेन्ट ट्याक्स कम हुन्छ हैन. र म त्यो डिटेल्सहरुमा चाहिँ म अहिले जान्न because we don't have that much time, तर त्यो गर्ने रिजन चाहिँ is to reduce your self employment taxes हैन. So त्यो एउटा भयो. So अर्को चाहिँ अब यो physicians on 1099 contractors भएपछि चाहिँ now you also can do solo 401k and SEP IRA. अब यो vehicles your retirement vehicles are, of course it's to save for retirement, but it also helps you reduce taxes a lot हैन. किनभने चाहिँ once you put money in a 401k or a SEP IRA or whatever, your taxable income goes down and अलिकति कम income हुन्छ for tax purposes हैन. So these are good vehicles to look into, solo 401k versus SEP IRA. Usually solo 401k is generally better, but एउटा मात्रै मान्छे like गर्न पाउँछ solo 401k मा चाहिँ हैन. So if you ever think you're going to employ other people, then solo 401k will not work हैन. So SEP IRA might be an option. And the maximum you can put in a solo 401k or SEP IRA 2022 को लागि चाहिँ is $62,000. Which is a good amount हैन. अब यो physicians on salary भयो भने 401k भयो भने you can only put 20,500 maximum. तर अब यो आफ्नो solo 401k or SEP IRA भएपछि चाहिँ you can put up to $62,000. So $62,000 shelter भयो हैन from income taxes, which is great. So त्यो भयो, त्यो गर्न मिल्छ. र SEP अब यो solo 401k versus SEP IRA को कुरामा चाहिँ अर्को चाहिँ यो SEP IRA चाहिँ generally is very easy to set up हैन. एकदमै deadline पनि एकदमै लामो छ SEP IRA को चाहिँ versus solo 401k चाहिँ slightly अलिकति maintenance अलिकति higher छ, तर it's not that bad. So त्यो गर्न मिल्छ हैन. And there are also many other tax planning opportunities because now you are the business owner and you control the payroll as well. हैन. So about auto tax planning or गर्न मिल्ने about, say for example, if you have children, हैन, children are like kids are like, you can actually make them an employee, and if and it has to be legit, हैन, because the IRS can do an audit, हैन, so it has to be, they have to have legitimate tasks, हैन. So त्यस्तो गरेर चाहिँ childrenहरूलाई employ गरेर पनि you can also give them work in your practice and also reduce your taxes. Okay, you put in tax planning opportunities धेरै छ. अनि you also have lots of like deduction opportunities as well of your business expenses or like deduct गर्न मिल्छ हैन, because now you're a business owner, right? So त्यो कारणले पनि your bookkeeping is very important because you're सबै legitimate हुनुपर्छ हैन, business expenses. You cannot just like deduct anything as business expenses because the IRS can audit this anytime, right? So it has to be your proper bookkeeping on the person. This was a business expense, this was a personal expense, sabai garnu milcha garnu parcha, tara this is an advantage, and you got the tax deduction or garnu milcha business expenses darma. So that's about physicians on 1099. And the last one is private practice physicians. And you would say physicians who have their own practice, right? You know, like you private practice physicians are like when you're physicians on 1099 are like, you can do everything that physicians on salary can do. Plus these things open up for you. Right? Physicians on 1099 can do all of these things. You Roth IRA पनि गर्न मिल्छ, 529 college savings पनि गर्न मिल्छ, HSA पनि गर्न मिल्छ. Plus they have solo 401k, SEP IRA, many tax planning opportunities, etc. Right? Private practice, they also can do all of these things as well. LLC गर्छ usually private practice, and then they usually do an S corp election, and then they do a payroll. Because of a private practice with their employees, so now you know it's a much bigger payroll than just single person, and then of your retirement accounts, there is a lot more you can do after private practice. So first thing is 401k. About 401k, most people do 401k as a benefit to employees, but it also benefits the owner as well because you can also put a lot of money in a 401k. And if you don't have a 401k, you cannot put money. So 401k, usually first thing on 401k when people have private practice. Second thing is once the private practice is profitable, you can also do a profit sharing. And about using usually like after the year ends, you can look at your P&L, your profit and loss, and be like, oh, it's the profit boy, it's a damn boy, so you year the, like, do we want to do some profit sharing contributions for our employees and for ourselves as owners? And let's say about Zoom company, if you have an advisor, the advisor can help you with this analysis. Or if you have your profit sharing provider, they might also be able to help. So the advisor, you can do an analysis. If the profit sharing say what is the tax advantage to me as the owner, and what do I need to give to my employees? If it makes sense, then that's another way in which you can save a lot in taxes and also invest money in retirement accounts as well. So the article profit sharing, but if your private practice is extremely profitable, and a lot of practices are, a lot of doctors' offices, a lot of lawyers' offices, they're actually very profitable. And the profit next level of retirement planning you can do is a cash balance pension plan. And a cash balance pension plan, when I say cost of money, but this kind of sits between investing and insurance. And a pension, you guys might be familiar, pension paisa halne and alikiti employee especially employee and then like at retirement you get like a pension and you get the benefit and you get the distribution. So it's the same concept. तर अब कति इम्प्लोइले हाल्ने, कति इम्प्लोइले पाउँछ at distribution when the person retires, the सबै calculation happens using actuarial tables and insurance tables. So they take life expectancy into account, mortality rates into account. And the rule of thumb is that the older a person is, the older and higher a person's salary is, the more beneficial the pension plan is for them. Right? So again, so जसले चाहिँ pension plan manage गर्छ सबै गर्न, or if you have an advisor, हैन, तिनीहरूले चाहिँ they can do the analysis to see if this makes sense or not. Like, should we even have a pension plan? कति contribute गर्ने pension plan? Like, is this beneficial for the owners? Because owners चाहिँ पैसा हाल्नु पर्छ, हैन? So like owners ले चाहिँ यति हाले भने चाहिँ यति हुन्छ, employeesहरूलाई चाहिँ यति दिनु पर्छ, मलाई चाहिँ यति advantage हुन्छ भनेर. So you can do an analysis and decide, do we want to do this or not? And if you decide to do it, then you can do it. So this is the next level of planning that private practices do. Right? So above you tax planning opportunities, they're still available to private practice as well. And about like things like deductions, and it increases even more because now you probably have more business related expenses. So there are a lot of advantages as well, private practice. So I'll stop there for a minute to see if there are any questions, because I know I spoke a lot.
Anyone, any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and share any questions or ask any questions.
मेरो एउटा क्वेसन छ रोशनीलाई. हेलो, सुन्नु भएको छ? हजुर, अघि तपाईँले एउटा कुरा भन्नुभयो नि, जस्तो रथ 401 or IRA मा रथ गर्ने चाहिँ अलिकति अब थोरै सेभिङ हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ रथ बेटर हुन्छ, नत्र अलिकति बढी इन्कम or एसेट भएपछि 401 बेटर हुन्छ रथ नगरिकन भन्नुभयो नि, त्यो अलिकति एक्सप्लेन गर्दिनु न त्यो.
हजुर हजुर. So 401 के भन्दा पनि दुईटा कुरा बुझ्नुपर्छ, एउटा चाहिँ ट्रेडिसनल, एउटा चाहिँ रथ, हैन? त्यो दुईटा, there are two flavors of retirement plans भनौँ न, हैन? Traditional र Roth basically. So traditional भनेको चाहिँ before tax, Roth भनेको चाहिँ after tax, हैन? So अब income अलिकति थोरै छ अरे, हैन? अब let's say 18-year-old person छ अरे, हैन? उसको income चाहिँ $30,000 छ अरे, हैन? अब त्यो मान्छेको tax is probably like, I don't know, like $5,000 उसले tax दिन्छ अरे, हैन? So अब त्यो मान्छेले चाहिँ after tax मा उसले त्यो पैसा राख्यो भने चाहिँ $5,000 tax तिरेर उसले अर्को 20,000 whatever चाहिँ त्यो Roth मा राख्यो भने चाहिँ that grows tax free, हैन? For the next however many years. So एकदम धेरै advantage भयो, हैन? त्यो मान्छेलाई, as opposed to somebody who is like, who makes $500,000, हैन? त्यो मान्छेको tax is huge, हैन? अब with 37% tax bracket मा भयो त्यो मान्छे, अब they probably pay like $200,000 in taxes. त्यो मान्छेले चाहिँ $200,000 tax तिरेर चाहिँ उसले Roth मा राख्यो, हैन? So अनि अब त्यो Roth मा राखेपछि चाहिँ tax free भयो, तर दुईजनाको tax cost हेर्नुस् न, उसको चाहिँ $5,000, उसको चाहिँ $200,000, हैन? त्यो $5,000 मा पैसा राख्ने मान्छेलाई एडभान्टेज भयो नि, हैन? So त्यो कारणले चाहिँ अलिकति थोरै इन्कम हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ, थोरै सेभिङ्स हैन, थोरै इन्कम हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ Roth is better because the tax cost lower भयो, हैन? तर त्यो $500,000 कमाउने मान्छेले चाहिँ उसले ट्रेडिसनल गर्यो भने चाहिँ, so traditional 401k or traditional IRA जे पनि ट्रेडिसनल गर्यो भने चाहिँ उसको चाहिँ इन्कम, taxable income नै कम भयो, हैन? अब उसले अब let's say just for like your example, let's say your cash balance pension plan मा or any traditional vehicle मा चाहिँ उसले चाहिँ 100,000 राख्यो अरे, हैन? So 500,000 बाट उसको इन्कम $400,000 भयो. So 37% उसको marginal tax bracket भयो पनि त्यो बेसरी घट्यो नि, हैन? Tax percentage घट्यो नि. So त्यो कारणले चाहिँ lower income हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ Roth option is better, and a Roth जे पनि 401k पनि Roth IRA is better, हैन? Because हजुरको tax cost low छ, तर income high भएपछि चाहिँ tax एकदम बढी हुन्छ नि. So tax reduce गर्नको लागि चाहिँ traditional IRA, traditional 401k is better.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's one more question chat box by Bishwa Aryal. If you have a high deductible plan, but your employer does not sponsor HSA plan, can you still contribute to HSA outside the employment?
I'm not sure. You'll have to check with the employer.
Okay. I think this next question is from Prem. Can you open HSA as a 1099 contractor?
Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah.
My accounting
Okay. Let's say okay, so the reason might be about income legal nominal saksa, right? About you think about yeah, I'm not sure. I think income might be something about depending on how you're doing your taxes and stuff. It might be a factor. But, yeah.
Income level, you is right at the top. No, you can do it.
About the marketplace, about the income, it might not even be available. Income on taxes. Yeah.
It's a regular काम गर्दाखेरि as a salary person, त्यतिखेर हस्पिटलले खोल्दाखेरि तर अब इन्डिपेन्डेन्ट भएपछि चाहिँ त्यो पाउँछै पाउँदैन आफूले हाल्दाखेरि सोद्धाखेरि चाहिँ पाउँदैन भन्छ।
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you, Prem. Are there any questions? So, please unmute yourselves, or we could carry on to the next part.
Okay. Looks like there are no other questions. So about real quick, I'll talk about backdoor Roth IRA, which I know is very popular with a lot of people. So backdoor Roth IRA is like it's saying, it is basically a Roth IRA. Roth IRA is basically an IRA that has it's basically a retirement account that you open, and a Roth account. The Roth account is after tax. So usually it's best for people who have lower income, or people who just have a lot to save. And then you've already maxed out your 401k, you've maxed out everything, and now you just have, if you have nowhere else to save, Roth is also a good option. There are Roth IRA AGI limits, like straight Roth contribute $214,000, but that body income I think jointly you cannot do a straightforward Roth IRA. So let's say backdoor Roth IRA is an option. So backdoor Roth IRA is very simple. You can just call about accounts of Fidelity, wherever, accounts. So I want to do a backdoor Roth IRA, but they'll help you, and then basically they'll help you open 2 accounts, put money in one, transfer to another, and so backdoor going to because of this AGI limit. But it needs to be done by April 15 of the tax year. So 2021 but only until April 15 or April 18 this year. So that's backdoor Roth IRA. College savings plan, it also works like a Roth IRA. It's after tax savings. It has to be used for education related expenses, or there is a tax. There is tax on the earnings plus the 10% penalty. You can use up to $10,000 per year for private school. So say you don't know what the world will look like, when the kid is an adult. So college so 2 options are way gonna like you can put some money in 529 but not overfund it either, because there is this whole penalty. So start early, preferably as soon as the baby is born. Start doing it and make a lump sum contribution. So every year contribute big lump sum contribution that will likely grow more. So that's college savings plan. And then next thing about investment, about a lot of people ask me, how do I invest? So investment method, beta options, or that's do it yourself or hire an advisor. About when to hire an advisor, when you have more money to invest. But you can just do it yourself. But as your money grows, you need an advisor, or if you have, or if you're taking important financial decisions, like you started a business, a private practice for you, or you have a lot of 1099 income all of a sudden, it's for to keep planning on some money. So those are some situations in which hiring an advisor is a good idea. Advisor hire say beware of conflicts of interest. But there are different types of advisors. The large banks, but a lot of them are broker dealers, so they do a commission-based business, which has lots of conflicts of interest because their best interest is in selling products that have the highest commission. So look for a fee-only advisor and a fee-based or hybrid advisors out there, but fee-only is the best because they are true advisors, and they're basically they provide unbiased advice. So it's a fee-only advisors are the best ones. And also demand fee transparency. What is the total fee? An advisory fee plus one fee. And then ask these other questions like, what kind of service do I get? Do I get financial planning? How often do we meet? Can I call you? How proactive, etc., etc. And then about invest decide the first thing to do is to develop an asset allocation and about things, the big stuff, not stuff like your Google Facebook this stuff, but like big things like about growth US growth US value non-US European or like emerging markets those big asset allocation blocks. Two question answer going to course. The first thing. Next thing is diversify. I know they only want to buy tech stocks because that's the flavor, and everybody's talking about it. So they just want to go to Robinhood and buy like your tech stock or that tech stock, thinking about that's going to pop, that's going to be the next Tesla or Amazon. So it might not happen, and most of the times it doesn't happen, because single company risk is very high. So let's say you have to be diversified across many different types of stocks, so hundreds of stocks and different types of stocks, and it rebalance over time. So this is a sample asset allocation. I know you say about you blue might say large US large cap, so stocks of very large US companies, and then you small, your international value, international small, emerging markets. So different types of assets, different types of stocks. This is how diversified a portfolio needs to be. And if you like, let's say you don't, you want to invest, but you don't know where to start. And a very simple way to start investing is just to open a brokerage account with Fidelity or Schwab or TD Ameritrade and just buy the S&P 500 ETF. Because the S&P 500 ETF could be you are very diversified because these are the different sources of revenue for the S&P 500 companies. And the S&P 500, I would say 500 of the largest US companies. Source of revenue, it's actually very diverse. It's not just the US, it's only 70% US. The rest is from all over the world. So you are very diversified. And of course, you have to be long-term oriented. And your short-term, that doesn't get you anywhere. It has to be very long-term. But let's say you have to think about your asset allocation. And what is this money for? Is this money because I want to buy a house in 5 years? Or is this money because this is my nest egg for the next 10, 15, 20 years? Clear, this what you say, you can determine risky your portfolio and cash or bonds, bonds are not doing so great right now. But safer investment more risk and then invest. They're always diversified because again, the single company risk, companies themselves are very volatile. So when you diversify and you make a portfolio with lots of different stocks, they kind of zig and zag. So overall, say, they help us a portfolio like diversify. So that's my presentation. If you guys have any other questions, you can ask me now, or here's my contact information as well. This is my email and this is my website.
Thank you, Roshni. That was really enlightening. Ekdamai important, ekdamai very useful talk, and I hope everybody here have found it very helpful. And if anyone had any questions, please unmute yourself. and ask.
I will just add this, अहिले जो रेजिडेन्सी सुरु गरिरहेको अथवा रेजिडेन्सी गरिरहेको मान्छेहरूलाई I'm jealous for them that they got this good information right in the start of their career. It took us a long time to understand so many basic stuff. But still, there was so many good information here. Duita cheese, I will point to what she said is it's so good to get disability insurance and life insurance early in your career. When you don't have any comorbidities and you can get a really good rate. About life insurance, disability insurance, दुईटै चाहिँ employerले दिन्छ when you join. तर sometimes when you are in the worst times, कुनै एउटा illness भयो के भयो भने you might have to leave one employer and you might have to wait to join another employer, and that is the time bad things happen. And one other thing I will add, which is so important, is there are so many riders when you buy disability insurance. This was a short term, so she could not go into details into all of those, but there are so many riders which you have to think of, and so you can look at all the things that companies provide. So I would really recommend to get those early in the career.
Yeah, great point.
Thank you, Pravish. I think somebody here, Betwal, would like to ask about thoughts on real estate investment.
Real estate investment. Well, I mean, it's good to do it. It's good to diversify. It depends of a real estate investment. Own गरेर rent गर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ अब that's very different from actually investing the traditional way of investing in real estate, which is either public markets, a public market भनेपछि REIT and a real estate investment trust मा invest गर्ने versus अब अर्को private real estate, which is buying like companies that do commercial real estate, or investing in companies that do commercial real estate like apartments, office buildings, etc. So those are actually proven ways to do real estate, and to REIT and to commercial real estate. And that is actually how investment professionals think of real estate. Data so those are good to do. But that can be your entire portfolio. The biggest part of your portfolio should be your public equities, public stocks, your publicly traded companies. That should be the biggest part of your portfolio, and then diversified with these like your real estate holdings. So REITs bhayo and public real estate bhayo, so your professional ko through गर्ने अनि अब अर्को चाहिँ आफै घर किनेर rent गर्ने. That is completely dependent on you and what area you buy in. त्यसमा चाहिँ अब त्यस्तो त्यो general data there is छैन, and also depends on the timing. अब अहिले त एकदमै राम्रो भइरहेछ हैन, 2008 मा नराम्रो भयो. So it's like you have to kind of find the right timing and right property, right cash flows. Just to go to yeah.
I think perhaps not knowing so much about stocks, you have to learn. I think possibly that's one of the reasons why I think physicians are go. I've seen the trend, real estate investment. I think it's also lack of not, because if you start investing by yourself in stocks, and you have to learn from the scratch and keep following. So I think there's been a lot of recommendation even I've come across. I think maybe that's why. But as per your advice, jati diversify garyo titi ramro is what you're saying, right? And as much as I understand, it's passive, active investment one. Passively, you could basically invest money on somebody who's doing the business already, or actively lagera garne. I think you save up more money, or you keep a track of your money. This one's a Gary, but I think that's a little bit of a trend there. I see a lot of more questions.
म एउटा क्वेसन सोच्छु है, म जगदम्बा भिजामा भएको रेजिडेन्सी स्टार्ट गर्न लागेको हाम्रो नेपालीहरूलाई is there a restriction on investing a stock market? Do you need to have a permanent residency अथवा green card हुनुपर्छ त्यस्तो छ कि छैन? J1 visa, H1B visa त्यस्तो केही छ restrictions हरु?
Yeah, I don't think so. As long as you can open an account, with the bank सँग त्यो जुन जसले अब brokerage or whatever institution जोसँग हजुरले open गर्नुहुन्छ account, उनीहरुको के internal restrictions छ भने चाहिँ हो हैन. तर most probably चाहिँ I don't think there is any restriction.
तर J1 visa मा भएकोहरुलाई अथवा H1B को पनि you cannot exceed certain amount of income every year भन्ने खालको हुन्छ. So you can still buy it but just not make money from it. त्यस्तो केही त्यो disclose गर्नुपर्छ नि लास्टमा ट्याक्स तिर्दाखेरि त्यस्तो केही छ कि छैन?
त्यस्तो मलाई अब स्पेसिफिक भिसाको बारेमा चाहिँ थाहा छैन. But like in general, as long as you can open an account, you investment firms you you Fidelity, Schwab, these are typical your brokerage firms. As long as they permit you to open an account, your account opening process you vet Patriot Act, know your customer so as long as they allow you to open an account and trade and whatever, you should be okay. तर अब यो tax को कुरा यो visa maintain गर्ने कुरामा चाहिँ I'm not so sure.
Okay. Thank you. कस्तो राम्रो talk. अनि अर्को अहिले सुरुमा यहाँ आएको early careerहरु छ उनीहरुको लागि चाहिँ best saving strategy चाहिँ 401k उनीहरुले start गर्ने institutionमा छ match गरिदिन्छ भने त्यो पैसा राख्नुले सबभन्दा राम्रो एउटा starting point भयो हैन?
Oh, exactly. 401k मा राख्नु is very good. Especially if it's provided, if they match, especially if it's on Ramro, match the like free money भयो, you have to take advantage of that.
अनि if they have two partners, दुवैजनाले काम गरिरहेको छ भने we have seen एउटा चाहिँ high earner छ भने अर्कोले चाहिँ नि they invest everything सबै थोकमा invest गरे so bring the income tax at the lower उसमा लिएर आउनको लागि they do that as well हैन त्यो लिँदाखेरि.
401k गर्यो भने traditional 401k गर्यो भने चाहिँ त्यसले tax मा help हुन्छ हैन. It reduces your taxable income. So त्यो help हुन्छ. And then अब अरु कुराहरु चाहिँ if you have children अर्को college savings plan हैन त्यसले पनि त्यो पनि tax advantage savings नै हो. So त्यस्तो गर्नुहुन्छ.
Yes, thank you. घर किन्ने त पछि कुरा गर्ने होला है के कुरा गरियो घर किन्दाखेरि के हुन्छ भनेर सुरुमै घर किन्यो भने instead of paying rent during residence you can but you can't get loan पाउन चाहिँ गाह्रो हुन्छ फेरि त्यही.
Yeah, I mean घर किन्ने is a personal choice हैन. It's it depends on should you rent or should you buy. That's always a big question हैन. It's usually a very personal decision because people want to live in a nice house. So त्यो कारणले पनि people buy houses. But when you're buying a house, it might not be a business decision. It might just be मलाई अहिले पनि like हामी राम्रो घरमा बस्न पाउँछ अनि hopefully this will appreciate this type of decision making. So it's different from like your real estate investing कुरा गर्यो नि हामीले. It's very different from that. Like buying a home to live in is usually not a real estate investing decision for a lot of people. But if it appreciates and it does well, that's good. Because you're not renting it out, you're actually living in it, so you're consuming the house.
Thank you. Actually, we're kind of running short on time with Pravish that I could talk, and I think lots of other questions. Roshani, would you be able to join us afterwards? Or I think you have a lot more questions here. Are you able to stay on for a little bit longer?
Or she can answer the questions. I can wait, no problem. Okay. I can shorten my talk. There's not a whole lot.
Okay.
Or you can also email me afterwards if there are any lingering questions as well.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. Robina here wants to ask, for newcomers, real estate versus stocks versus Roth IRS, which one would be a better investment option?
Those are all good options. About the Roth IRA, they're very easy to open. You can open an account and you put money and invest right away in a Roth IRA, 401k. These are all very easy. Real estate, so you have to like vet everything. You have to money. You have to find a house. You know, lots of work to do. And investor find money. You have to do a lot of work to vet that investor experience. You have to understand the investment itself because of your commercial real estate different from just buying a stock or just renting a house. That different. So you have to understand all of that.
Okay. Prem here was wondering if you could touch upon variable universal life insurance. Thank you, Prem.
Well, it like depends on your situation. I know, like for most people, term life insurance is enough. But the variable life insurance, it depends on what you're trying to do. You know, what kind of coverage you want, what situation you're in. So I will say that for most people, term life is sufficient.
Just joined the clinic or hospital. They obviously there is a case happen, and and I was just thinking because since then I've been in numerous kind of talks and I've realized people don't seem to, they think it's like a, catching a high earner and getting fees from them kind of thing. And like you said, term insurance is usually enough. So मेरो चाहिँ 10 साल almost हुन लाग्यो. So I'm just wondering, should I carry on or, because every month I have to pay more than what I would normally pay for term. But for some money I'm gonna get, that's the cash they have, that you get that money and they'll be tax free when you eventually get it. So I'm curious to know, and 2023 might be over 10 years, so I have no further money. If I then withdraw, I can withdraw all of it. Or should I withdraw and just buy term, or should I keep doing all that? So I think I was not sure.
Yeah. Well, ask the person who's like your insurance, only insurance or just on ask them to like give you some comparisons. Like versus like जुन पैसा चाहिँ त्यो इन्स्योरेन्स किनेको पैसा चाहिँ यतिकै मार्केटमा इन्भेस्ट गर्यो भने के हुन्छ. Like once you see these scenarios, then it should be easy.
Right.
Thank you. Really good questions, eh? Interesting. The more like people ask questions, I'm like, oh, thank you so much for everyone for your nice, wonderful questions. So if